Happy Sunday and welcome to your weekly news recap. I'm Gabriela Perez and here are the top stories of the week. Kicking off the week with some disturbing news, the Washington Post uncovered a disturbing trend in the United States involving over 1,800 state and local police officers arrested for child sexual abuse between 2005 and 2022. Many victims were not known to their abusers, with some assaulted by officers who were supposed to help them after previous incidents of sexual assault. The most common victims were girls aged 13 to 15, often targeted by officers in positions of authority who came into contact with them through their jobs. The investigation, using data from Bowling Green University's comprehensive database on law enforcement crimes as well as court records and local news reports, highlighted how these officers abused their power by gaining the trust of parents and guardians before creating opportunities to be alone with children and using threats to ensure silence. This disturbing pattern goes to show the need for vigilance and accountability within law enforcement agencies in the U.S. Moving on, a Boeing worker John Barnett was found dead in Charleston, South Carolina from a suspected self-inflicted gunshot wound after raising concerns over plane safety laws. Barnett, who died at 62, had worked at Boeing for over 3 decades as a quality inspector and had voiced concerns he deemed catastrophic. His family attributed his death to a hostile work environment at Boeing. Barnett's case against Boeing was set for trial in June, and his attorneys expressed disbelief over his death, urging a thorough investigation. Boeing expressed sadness over Barnett's passing, but did not comment on the family's allegations. Barnett's concerns included metal shavings potentially damaging flight controls, leading to an FAA order from Boeing to address the issue. Despite retirement, Barnett continued to advocate for safety, filing a whistleblower complaint and legal action against Boeing. His family described him as fun, loving, and dedicated to his family. Barnett's death comes amid scrutiny of Boeing following incidents involving its planes, including a Justice Department investigation and an incident resulting in injuries on a Dreamliner plane. Next, a California Assemblymember, Jesse Gabriel, has introduced a bill aimed at banning 6 additives from food served in public schools, including Red 40 and others, making California the first state to implement such a measure. The bill prioritizes the health and well-being of students by removing potentially harmful additives from their school meals. Specifically, the bill targets 6 artificial food dyes associated with hyperactivity and behavioral issues in children, along with titanium dioxide, a whitening agent banned in the UK due to potential DNA damage and cancer risks. Gabriel emphasized that the legislation doesn't target specific foods but encourages companies to use natural substitutes for coloring. Despite the FDA stance that there's no established link between synthetic dyes and behavioral problems, a California assessment found otherwise, showing neurobehavioral effects in sensitive children. The bill faces opposition from trade associations defending FDA's authority and safety standards, while advocacy groups like the Environmental Working Group support it, citing FDA's alleged negligence. Analysis suggests the ban would impact only a small percentage of foods sold in California schools. Gabriel stated synthetic dyes are non-essential ingredients. These are chemicals that are added to food to make them appear more appealing, but for all of them there are specific alternatives. Ending on a positive story, Bernie Sanders is advocating for a bill to implement a 4-day work week without a cut in pay, which would gradually reduce the standard work week from 40 to 32 hours over 4 years. The aim is to safeguard workers' pay and benefits. The new bill, called the 32-Hour Workweek Act, is proposed by Senator Bernie Sanders, aiming to shorten the standard work week from 40 to 32 hours over 4 years. It includes provisions to lower overtime compensation hours and mandates overtime pay for workdays exceeding 8 or 12 hours. Sanders emphasizes that increased productivity seen in France, Norway, and Denmark should benefit workers, not just CEOs and shareholders. And city studies show stagnant wages for workers despite increased productivity. The bill, introduced with support from Senator Laponza Butler and Representative Mark Takano, has drawn attention to international examples of shorter work weeks and pilot programs that demonstrate increased worker satisfaction and productivity. Sanders plans to hold hearings for the proposal featuring testimonies from various experts and stakeholders. That's all for this week. From politics to crime, I look forward to delivering you independent news coverage every week. Subscribe and follow my social media pages to catch up on the latest news. I'll see you next week.